This episode of Bouts Talking Bouts is brought to you by Bare Knuckle Betting Shark. Winning parlays, if you're looking for them in BKFC, you got to be checking out BK Bet Shark. Here's the thing, $50 buys, you get a personalized bet slip. It's based on your own budget. You can be flexible. It is what works for you. And this guy's got the receipts. You can check out all the winning tickets. You can peep them, and you can do so at Bare Knuckle Betting Shark. Check him out on Instagram and get with it. Got them personalized betting slips going on, $50 buys. All right, on this episode of Bare Knuckle Radio, very excited to be talking to an individual who is just coming off of a very triumphant victory at BKFC 53 in that November 3rd headliner, defending that Middleweight Championship yet again with a second-round finish of Doug Coltrane and great heaven David Mundell on Bare Knuckle Radio. How are you feeling, man? I imagine you're feeling pretty happy after a win of that nature and everything.
Yeah, I'm excited, and I feel like we finally got the ball rolling on something else that I've been working for, so excited about that.
And I guess I'm being presumptuous, but are you alluding to a potential Mike Perry fight, or what are you meaning with that?
Yes. It's something that I've wanted since he came to the organization, and finally starting to make some headwaves, get people talking, and people seeing that it's an actual possibility real soon, and I can't wait because I just want to put my hands on them.
Yeah, and it looked like you guys had a bit of an interaction after the last fight. Like, what was going on there in terms of the verbal back and forth? It seemed like you were seeing if he wanted to fight next, almost.
I was just asking him if he wanted to fight me, and just trying to, make it clear that he doesn't. He really doesn't want to fight me because he knows that he'll lose, and then his stocks will all go down. So, he's doing everything he can to avoid the fight, and second BKFC's done using him up, they're going to feed him to me, and I'm going to whoop his ass.
I mean, it's interesting because I've seen you talk about, I guess, sort of his arc in Bare Knuckle, and I've seen, like, a few different posts in general. Like, I saw one, a few months ago where you were talking about how he's probably going to go and fight a YouTuber. I think he'd said that after the first time you defended the title. Like, what do you think it is, like, why, in terms of, like, why he's not looking to fight you? Because I saw you also referenced his clip on the Joe Rogan show, and you're like, yeah, some of these guys he's fought, like MVP and Rockhold, are, like, impressive MMA fighters, but, like, they were, like, bare knuckle debutantes. So, I guess, like, why do you ultimately think Perry's not looking to fight you and everything?
It comes down to it's a lose-lose situation for him. Regardless if he steps in that ring with me, he's going to lose, so he understands that. And then when he loses to me, he lost to somebody that not a lot of people know just yet. Even though I'm the champ, I'm up and coming, blah, 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 it'll just destroy his career. So he's going to wait and push it off and try not to do it because it's just, I can't blame him. He knows.
It's just interesting. This exists in, a lot of combat sports. We see it a lot in MMA, but it seems like in BKFC, there's almost like two very defined paths. Like, people want to go the almost like money fight kind of route, whereas other people are doing the classic, like, work the way up into, title contention and then, log their championship legacy thereafter. So it almost seems like that kind of thing. Like, I'm not saying that in obviously a disrespectful way to Perry's opponents, but
it's kind of crazy in my eyes. You got this guy who, I know Mike came from the UFC, so a lot of people knew him from there, but he was also getting his ass kicked in there. That's why they booted him out. So he came over to BKFC, and I feel like that kind of excelled his career, and that kind of made him more well-known. So he's got this whole background coming from BKFC. It's supposed to be his sport. He claims to be the best in and stuff like that. And I just don't understand why he wouldn't want to, to hold that belt, to solidify being number one. And he like spits in the face of the organization, basically claiming he doesn't need it, which is bullshit, As of right now, he sits beneath me. I'm above him. Granted, it's not a popularity contest when we get in that ring. Right now, it's just annoying.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like you put a great deal of stock in that King of Violence title that him and Alvarez are going to vie for.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's just two big name guys, and they're just BKFC is doing what they have to do to hype everybody up, to get eyes looking and stuff like that, which is all fine and dandy. But they're going to realize real soon they don't need him, and like I
It does, though, seem like the way you're talking about everything that you ultimately do foresee Perry beating Alvarez and that he could be your next opponent.
You know, it's one of those things, believe it or not, I don't. I am one of the few people who believe that even though Alvarez is smaller, that he's way better of a boxer, and he's going to be able to go in there and, you know, win. Now, if he's not able to finish Perry, which is a likely possibility, because, you know, everyone knows Perry's tough, and he's fighting somebody who doesn't hit as hard as, you know, some of these other 175-pound guys. So I feel like they'll rob him of the decision, just like they did when he fought MVP. You know, I don't feel like he won that fight. And then when he fought Rockhold, that dude just quit. When he fought Lane, like, it was very controversial. Like, Perry hasn't really done much. But they seem to just want to keep him on top of everything, so they just keep feeding him opponents that he should be able to get above and last the duration of the fight to just squeak away with some bullshit robbery.
I mean, is that kind of why you would ultimately be really looking for a fight with a guy like Perry? Because, I mean, just with the last rankings update, I mean, you're a champion in one division, obviously ranked number 1 at light heavyweight, and the recent amendment is number 5 pound for pound. So it's like the people that avidly follow the sport know the acumen and everything. But is the Perry fight to more serve, I guess, like bolstering the cachet, for lack of a better way to phrase it?
Yeah, it's just to solidify my spot. You know, I just want everyone to know that I am the best. And everyone keeps saying, like, oh, Perry this, Perry that, just because he's, you know, known. But he's not good. The reason why they're able to get these UFC guys to come over and fight him is because they look at him and see how trash he is, and they're like, yeah, I can do that. And then, you know, whatever happens from there is whatever. But just, like I said, I can't wait. I'm just waiting my turn. And when I get a hold of his ass, it's over. Unless, of course, he loses to Alvarez, which is what I do think is going to happen. Then, you know, we'll scrap the Perry fight. We'll go after Alvarez.
Yeah, I mean, either way, some good options, and just kind of redirecting the focus to the fight. I'd be remiss if I didn't get some more insights into that, because it seemed like you were able to overcome an eye injury and garner another explosive knockout victory. Like, what was the overall assessment of how the fight played out and everything like that?
My previous fight?
Yeah, the Doug Coltrane victory, yes.
You know, so I went in there and I knew he was going to be unorthodox. Everyone, you know, wants to ask you how you predict the fight's going to go. And as the fighter, we're supposed to sit here and say, you know, we're going to knock him out, and they'll ask you what round, blah, blah, blah. And I think, I don't remember exactly what interview it was, but I pretty much did say, you know, I'm going to finish him. I knew that was going to happen. It was just a matter of when. My best guess was the second round, and people are saying, why not the first? He was unorthodox. He was new. There's not a lot of film to watch to see how he fights. We didn't know how he was going to react to what I was doing. So I needed that first round just to come in, like, feel him out a little bit, figure out where I can, you know, start attacking. And ultimately, that's exactly what happened. I came out first round, got through that. I got a little shiner in my eye from it. But, you know, second round, we got in there, we got the job done.
And it seemed like you were very aware of what he was bringing to the table heading in, as you just kind of expounded upon. I guess in saying that, was there anything in the fight that he showcased that, I guess, existed outside of your preconceived notions? Like, did he do anything that maybe surprised you in a certain sense?
Yes and no. He did a good job at staying long, you know, just staying away from me, making me really push in hard. But I, at the same time, I expected him to do that. And it's one of the safer routes for him to have taken. So it was all, you know, figured out, so to speak, beforehand. But we just never know with these guys. They come in, they're so new, don't know what they're going to do.
And I was going to say, yeah, at this point you have one of the higher, I guess, fight IQs, and just in terms of, like, the experience, like, BKFC centric, it seems like that would very much be a variable in your favor. But I would also think, like, the surrounding team, in addition to your individual work, would help serve that. Just such a great team with, you know, Shift MMA, and it seems like they've really...
All my fight IQ comes from Jihad, you know. I've been with him for almost 10 years, maybe a little bit more now, you know, so pretty much we've been able to work on everything, you know, and just learning the systems behind everything and figuring it all out. So all my knowledge from him, and then we got, you know, some of the baddest fighters in BKFC who train out of my gym. So I'm just always in there with high level people pushing you, and we're growing with each other. So, you know, we're going to be unstoppable for quite a while.
Yeah, I would think a guy like Jared Warren, just like similar body types, like kind of close, like, you know, weight division wise and whatnot. I feel like there'd be a lot of great direct work had there, but just seems like a great team overall. Like you could rattle off, you know, so many awesome fighters. So it seems like a collective where everyone's uplifting each other and everything.
Yeah. And then now too, like a lot of people are coming over to train with us, to cross train with us. They want to come see what we have to offer. So we're always able to get the looks we need. You know, I'm really big on that. Is always finding someone who can, you know, imitate your opponent. And for me fighting Doug, he was long, so I have Jared. You know, he's long, along with some other guys, and it just works out really well all the time.
Yeah, it just seems like some good camaraderie as well. Like I was even talking to Jared Warren the other day, and he was like, yeah, you know, Dave Mundell could for sure be a light heavyweight, but it's almost like that, you know, the teammates not intersecting paths, like, you know, rule separate divisions kind of vibe. So yeah,
85 seems to be his division. He doesn't want to cut down to 70. He did tease me the other day. He's like, hey man, I think I might start dropping to 70. I'm like, you go ahead and do that, because I'll take that 85 $1,000 beat. I don't have to do these extreme weight cuts no more. It's funny because I walk around heavier than Jared, and then I weigh in, obviously, 10 pounds lower than him, but then I wind up being 10 pounds heavier than him, even on fight night. So I could actually hold the belt below and above him.
I was going to say, I did mention the fact that you'd encroached into the pound-for-pound rankings. If you were to do that, I mean, that could definitely, you know, serve advancing within that hierarchy more. But I've also seen some interviews you've done where you're like, I pretty much already think I'm the number one pound-for-pound guy. So, yeah, is that something that you put any stock in, though, or is it just kind of arbitrary, like, okay, that's okay, I guess?
It's one of those things, like, BKFC, everything is still so new. Like, that stuff doesn't mean too much to me right now. Of course, I want to be considered, you know, to be one of the pound best, because I'm a fighter. That's what we do. It's all competition. I'm here to prove, you know, that I am the best. So it's cool, but, you know, more time goes by and people just start seeing it more and more, and then those rankings will level out, so to speak. Right now, they're kind of crazy. I know they got people who I believe aren't even fighting anymore, still on the rankings and stuff like that. So it's whatever.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, and I guess I'm kind of curious, like, I mean, obviously just coming off of a fight, and I know some fighters will maybe have a certain idea of when their next one is, and some people are more like, you know, just kind of decompressing almost, like maybe take a bit to figure it out. Do you have a certain crystallized idea or even like a loose timeline as to when you might next want to fight, I suppose?
I would love to fight early next year. I don't know what the cards are shaping up to be, or I know they usually hold like the Knucklemania cards in February, right? I think that's usually when they have them.
Yep.
Could be mistaken, but I think it's around that. So I would be ready around that time, you know. So we could run it there. I would love to be on a bigger card, you know. I headline these other ones, which is great, you know, so my name gets out there. But I want to be around some other people, some good energy, and on a bigger card.
Yeah, well, I feel like that's their big annual sort of tentpole event, and I could definitely see you being one of the more prominently featured fights. So, I mean, yeah, that could also serve what we were kind of talking about before, of getting just the broader, you know, like awareness to what you're doing. So that could be great.
All they got to do is just lay eyes on me one time, and they see how I fight, and then everyone becomes a fan. You know, I had a lot of people busting my balls about, you know, calling Perry out, and then all of a sudden they go through my Instagram, and they're like, oh, wow, like, we didn't know. So I'm just the best kept secret right now, you know. It's just what it comes down to is I've never been a shit talker. I'm always, you know, quiet, and I just go in there and I fight. But my fights, you know, speak for me. So it'd actually be interesting if I could get to fight with Perry, because he's one of the few people that I'd actually sit here and trash on. So it would be fun.
Yeah, because I felt like when we were talking before even some of your previous fights, like the Mike Richmond fight, for instance, I didn't really get the sense of I guess, too much like trash talk or banter, but I guess you and Perry do have like the previous MMA history as well, so it seems like maybe this has been a thing for a bit.
Story. You remember when he fought Julian? He got all bent out of shape because Julian pulled his family into it, something about his kids. But that motherfucker ran his goddamn mouth about, my kids and my wife and all this other stuff. And, it's a very sour time because he was saved by the bell both times we fought in the first round. And he's like a Nick or Nate Diaz. He's just tough. He just sits there and gets his ass beat until you get tired, and then he gets a lucky shot and finishes people. But I guarantee you now, we could do no time limit, and that would not happen. I just hope they give me the chance to show everybody how trash he is. Just beat his ass up and down that ring with ease.
Would that be like, I guess, the biggest difference there? Like, it almost seems like the composure and the temperament, like maybe pacing would be the biggest difference there if you were to run it back, I guess.
It's just, I've grown since, like, I'm a true fighter, true mixed martial artist. I'm always in there to learn. I go to practice, and I love it. It's my passion, so I go in there and I do it. He's had his time. He got, big, and he kind of just quit. He's got a problem showing up at the gyms. You don't know who his coach is. He's fucking abuses substances and all this shit. Like, I've grown. He's stuck in the mud. We fought like 8 years ago or some shit like that. Like, if you want to compare me to then, I would blow myself out of the water so easy too. So it's just, I think it's funny reading all the comments and stuff on the pages, people getting all riled up about it, saying, oh, he's already finished you twice. I'm like, yeah, he did. I've knocked him down 3 times too, I'm a lot bigger. I hit a lot harder. I'm a lot better. Like, I just can't wait to show the world.
Yeah, I mean, such an incredible fight. I mean, hopefully that's a fight they make. I mean, that's a fight that, as someone who just kind of follows the sport, would definitely, love seeing that for sure. But been great getting to, have you on and get some great insights, David. It was a great victory over Doug Coltrane. It seems like, a lot of great potential fights are on the horizon, no doubt. But I guess in wanting to be mindful of your time and let you, kind of enjoy the victory a little bit and all that, I'm curious if maybe there's a final parting thought you'd want to add as we're sort of wrapping up, man.
Nah, just everyone stay tuned. Like I said, as soon as BKFC is done using him, I think on his last fight of this contract, I guarantee they give him to me. I think that's what's going to happen. In my head, that's what's going to happen. I'll have one more fight between me and him, and then I'll be able to whoop his ass.
You're going to amalgamate that King of Violence title into your middleweight title? Is that the plan?
If they give me that shot, absolutely. I mean, I feel like either one of them guys would be an easy pickings for me. Like I said, Eddie's small, Mike's trash, so that belt's already mine.
Well, it's a great time to get to have you on the show. A great sophomore title defense, and just to echo the previous sentiment, seems like a lot of cool potential fights to be made in the future. So again, to reiterate, thanks so much for the time and for coming on Bare Knuckle Radio, David, and just you enjoy the rest of your day, man. Thank you.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
This episode of Bouts Talking Bouts is brought to you by Bare Knuckle Betting Shark. Winning parlays, if you're looking for them in BKFC, you got to be checking out BK Bet Shark. Here's the thing, $50 buys, you get a personalized bet slip. It's based on your own budget. You can be flexible. It is what works for you. And this guy's got the receipts. You can check out all the winning tickets. You can peep them, and you can do so at Bare Knuckle Betting Shark. Check him out on Instagram and get with it. Got them personalized betting slips going on, $50 buys.